and it is Aliyah Boston talking about her favorite teammates in the WNBA. And if we're being real, I would assume the teammate who gets 3 to 4 assists per game to her is probably your favorite teammate. The teammate that, keeps giving her the ball wide open 4 feet from the basket for her to shoot.
Aliyah Boston just revealed her favorite WNBA teammates, and the internet lost its mind. No hesitation. No diplomacy. No, I love all my teammates equally speech. When asked who she enjoys playing with most, Boston answered instantly, Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. That one sentence sent shockwaves through the WNBA timeline, especially among South Carolina fans. The same people who've spent months trying to manufacture tension between Boston and Clark just watched their entire narrative crumble in real time. This wasn't shade. This wasn't calculated. It was raw honesty. Boston sat down for an interview, got a simple question, and delivered an answer so direct it set social media on fire. No pause. No backtracking. Just respect for the players she loves sharing the floor with most. Now fans are divided. Should teammates be this honest about favorites? Or are people reading way too much into a straightforward answer? Either way, Aliyah Boston didn't just answer a question, she sparked a full-blown debate.
So going with 2, can you guess who they are?
No.
Caitlin and Kelsey. I love those girls right
I
there.
I knew that.
You could have, I feel like you could have guessed that.
I knew that, but I knew that.
I feel like you could have,
I don't know why I was thinking college too.
Oh, I was just thinking.
Okay, you're right. You're right.
But
you're a big girl now.
Caitlin, yeah, I am. I'm grown up. Caitlin and Kelsey, those are my girls. Like, I love those two so freaking much, and I love playing with them. It's crazy. So
here's exactly how it went down in the interview. The host asked, can you guess who they are? Boston didn't blink. Caitlin and Kelsey. I love those girls right there. The host laughed and said, I knew that. I knew that. And Boston doubled down. You could have guessed that. I don't know why, if we're being real. But now, yeah, I am. I'm grown. I'm grown up. Caitlin and Kelsey, those are my girls. I love those two so freaking much, and I love playing with them. It's crazy. No hedging. No PR filter. Just honesty. Now, let's be real about why this answer makes perfect sense. Caitlin Clark gets Aliyah Boston 3 to 4 assists per game. She's constantly finding Boston wide open 4 feet from the basket, putting the ball right in her hands for easy buckets. If you're a center getting fed in perfect scoring position multiple times a night, that player is going to become your favorite teammate real quick. That's not controversial. That's basic basketball logic. But for some reason, people have spent months trying to pit Aliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark against each other, turning a natural basketball fit into a fake rivalry. And this moment completely shuts that down. At the end of the day, what we're watching isn't tension, it's chemistry. And Boston just said it out loud.
Things when it comes to Aliyah Boston, it's like people have tried to put Aliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark, pit them against each other. But at the end of the day, I think when people were doing that in like a basketball...
The beauty of Aliyah Boston's answer is how genuine it sounded. This wasn't media training speak. She wasn't calculating how to avoid offending anyone. She wasn't checking boxes or playing it safe. She was simply telling the truth about who she loves playing with and why. In an era where most athletes give carefully scripted, controversy-proof answers, that kind of honesty is refreshing. And to be fair, Boston could have named Erica Wheeler. During her rookie season, Wheeler consistently fed Boston the ball, made sure she got her touches, and helped her establish herself. If Boston had mentioned Wheeler as one of her favorite teammates, no one would have blinked. But she didn't. She chose Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell, the teammates she's building chemistry with right now. That's the key. The interviewer even floated the idea of college teammates, which opens another layer to this conversation. Boston's favorite college teammate was likely Brea Beal, someone she also shared the WNBA floor with. But Boston shut that door gently and intentionally when she said, I'm grown. I'm grown up. That wasn't a throwaway line. That was a statement. It was her way of saying the college chapter is closed. She's focused on her professional career, her professional teammates, and the relationships that directly impact her success today. And that's exactly what elite athletes are supposed to do. This is where South Carolina fans lose their minds. They want Boston to still represent the program at all times, to prioritize college ties, to keep South Carolina at the center of her universe. But Boston has evolved beyond that. She's no longer a college star. She's a professional with professional priorities. And her honesty made that impossible to ignore.
What made you take Caitlin Clark's drink?
You just never, like, that's just who I am. Like, I'm like, okay, you know what? You're going to be on camera. Let me just slide this out the view so we don't have to worry about it. No one has to see it. And obviously, the way I'm looking in the camera, I thought that, like, no one could see me. I was like, oh, no one can even see what's happening here, but I was wrong.
You look really guilty in this video. Caitlin looks like she's having a great time.
And I'm just like,
Courtney
excuse
Williams.
me, I'm just going to take this from you.
Just in her element. And Aliyah looks like the kid in class that raised their hand and told the teacher that they didn't collect the homework. That's what you look like. That's what you look like in that picture.
I did just have to take it. And I was like holding it until she was done. I was like, it's okay. I'll just
The people who've been trying to pit Aliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark against each other just watched their entire narrative fall apart. For months, there's been a manufactured storyline floating around that Boston and Clark don't mesh, that their games don't fit, that there's some kind of tension behind the scenes. None of it was ever rooted in reality, but it kept getting pushed anyway. Boston just obliterated all of that with one honest answer. She didn't dodge. She didn't soften it. She openly named Caitlin Clark as one of her 2 favorite teammates in the entire league. That's not subtle. That's not accidental. That's a full-on rejection of the fake rivalry people have been trying to sell. You don't call someone your favorite teammate if there's tension. You don't say that about someone you don't enjoy playing with. Boston made it crystal clear on the record that the chemistry is real and the narrative was never more than noise.
Is you get the number 1 pick.
Yes.
And that obviously becomes Caitlin Clark.
Yes.
What are she joins the team. What are some of your early impressions of her?
I thought she was super nice. I think it's always weird when you're like used to competing against someone.
Yeah.
I was like, I forgot we were like doing something. We had something. I was like, hey, I just want to say, I'm like really upset that you like did what you did in that Final Four game. I was like, I feel like I just need to get it off my chest because like we are teammates, but I'm like, you didn't have to do all that. Like you did not have to go for 40 on our dome. Like, girl, we could have just had fun.
Yeah,
but after that, it was like cool because obviously now we're on the same team, so you don't worry about that. But I always thought it was funny because I'm like, we just went from competing against each other, you beating us, and now we're on the same team. Yeah. It's like, I was like, girl, it's okay. I get it. I'm not mad at you for real, but I am. Because like,
now let's talk about the basketball fit, because this is where the conversation gets really interesting. When Caitlin Clark arrived in Indiana, Aliyah Boston didn't just adjust, she transformed. Boston went from being a bruising back to the basket center into an elite face-up big. She got faster. She got quicker laterally. She improved her perimeter defense to the point where she can comfortably guard guards. She became better in pick-and-roll situations, more effective in pick-and-pop actions, and a more reliable shooter overall. That evolution wasn't accidental. It was intentional, and it was necessary. Here's the reality people don't like to talk about. If Indiana had landed the 2nd pick instead of the 1st, they likely would have drafted Camila Cardoso. Boston would still be playing as a traditional bruising center, working high-low sets with another post player. Christy Sides would probably still be the coach, and the Fever almost certainly wouldn't have made the playoffs. That's not a knock on Boston. It's not a knock on Cardoso. That's just basketball reality. Instead, Boston reshaped her entire game to maximize her partnership with Clark. And here's the uncomfortable question: would it have worked the other way around? Could Caitlin Clark have fully adapted to a slower, post-centric offense built around back-to-the-basket bigs? That's genuinely questionable. Clark thrives in up-tempo systems where she controls the pace, has space to create, and plays with freedom. Asking her to operate inside a slowed-down post system might not have produced the same results. Boston made it work. She changed everything about her game, and the results speak loudly. The Fever made the playoffs. They became one of the most exciting teams in the league. And Boston and Clark developed real chemistry, both on and off the court. Now, Boston is publicly calling Clark one of her favorite teammates ever. The people who hate Caitlin Clark are upset. The people who've been pushing the Boston doesn't like Clark narrative are scrambling. But the simplest explanation is usually the right one. Aliyah Boston genuinely loves playing with Caitlin Clark. Their games fit. Their chemistry is real. And they've built an actual friendship on and off the court. There's no conspiracy here. There's no hidden tension. Just two elite players who make each other better. Some fans are trying to pivot. One commenter asked about Brea Turner and whether Boston would keep her or trade her. The response was honest and realistic. If Turner comes in on a minimum deal, you take her. She's a solid 10th to 12th player who can contribute when needed. But let's be real, she's not in the same tier as Clark and Kelsey Mitchell when it comes to Boston's most important partnerships. Then there's the bigger issue lurking behind all of this, the CBA. Someone commented, please sign the CBA, and that's the elephant in the room. The WNBA and the Players Union still haven't finalized a new collective bargaining agreement. The schedule is out. Games are planned. But technically, nothing is guaranteed. In reality, the season is happening. Too many players can't afford for it not to. There are players who made under $100,000 last year combined between the WNBA and overseas contracts. This season, some of those same players are staring at $500,000 deals. That's 3 or 4 years of old salary in one season. They're not striking. They're not holding out. Off the record, 80 to 90 players would oppose a strike. Union rhetoric sounds strong, but the owners know the leverage. If the players were smart, they'd negotiate a shorter CBA with opt-out clauses tied to revenue growth. Accept the current terms, including the $1.3 million max, then opt out in 3 years when the TV deal can be renegotiated. That's how you regain leverage. But back to Boston and Clark, because that's the real story. Now the Fever are playoff contenders. Boston's stock is higher than ever. She's playing next to one of the biggest stars in basketball. And she's openly happy about it, which drives the haters absolutely insane. South Carolina fans who are upset need to understand one thing. Players move on. College is one chapter. The pros are the future. Aliyah Boston said Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are her favorite teammates. The haters are furious. The fake drama is dead. And this Fever core? It's just getting started.